Hello and welcome to the BUCS breakdown this week. It's just me and Stuart this week. Andy's away with work, so it'll be me and Stuart breaking it down. It feels a bit strange not having Andy here and being able to moderate us a little bit. But no, Stuart, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm trying to make sure that we have actually gone live on Instagram, and it looks like we have. So, yeah, I'm kind of pulling the editorial strings. But, yeah, it looks like we have. And then I'll just quickly share it into the Facebook group as well, that if you're not part of, pop on Facebook and have a quick look. So I'll just quickly share it over there if you want to do the introduction bit.
Yeah, so this week we have no news to talk about. Fixtures haven't been released. The alignments have been, but I think we're going to wait to the fixtures to be released, and then we can talk about more about what alignments have taken place and stuff like that. And me, Stuart, and Andy will be jumping on to talk about that when we've got a very time. But this week seemed pretty much impossible for all of us. But yeah, so we'll just jump straight into the results from last week. So first of all, we have the Premiership tiers, and I think we'd be wrong not to talk about that one at the top straight away. Durham Saints defeating the UWE Bullets 29-6, which, you know, it's not a surprise to many. I don't think. I think the distance that UW had to travel, the way that Birmingham played, especially against the UO and goal, it kind of had the writing on the wall for a Durham beat. Durham win, didn't it, really, Stuart?
Yeah, there was also like rumours about UE squads and who was travelling and playing and stuff like that. And yeah, as you say, the distance that they had to travel. I think there was some jokes about them flying. I don't know if they actually did, but who knows? But yeah, it was live streamed by BUCS as well. I managed to tune in on Saturday afternoon after work and give it a watch. And sod's law is that I tuned in just after Durham got that blocked punt touchdown. And I didn't see any other scores for the rest of the game. And I was like, oh, great, here we go. But yeah, by all accounts, you travelled with 28, which, for them is not a massively small squad. I think it was more the jigsaw pieces they were missing and who they were missing. And then into the fourth quarter, they took off Ethan Gretzinger, the quarterback. Not again. I've spoken to several different people, and they say that he wasn't particularly injured. It was more, just maybe what we call a shot count type thing, or looking after him ahead of this weekend's big fixture that we'll come on to. So maybe at that sort of score, they almost understood the situation. They knew the game was gone. You see the top quality NFL players and NCAA coaches doing it. Take your assets off the field before the assets can't be on the field, right? So, yeah, kind of made sense to me. And if you're going to put something else on film for someone else to scout, then, get a different wildcat package or a different QB on the field.
It's exactly that, and they've already confirmed the place in the playoffs. They don't need to really be competing when the game's already gone from them. In a way, do you know what I mean? It would have been silly in many ways to then keep competing. Yes, home field advantage would be nice, but this is what 5-time defending national champions. Like, yeah. I think they'll be okay whether they're playing home or away, really.
But yeah, what are you going to be more gutted about? Yeah. Like losing by 23 points. Yeah, losing away from home, 23 points on a Saturday evening, or if Ethan, God forbid, breaks his arm or gets a concussion or gets injured and can't play the next 3 or 4 games in the playoffs. I think I know which one I'm taking.
Football. Playing smart football, it's as simple as that, isn't it? And then on in the Prem North and South as well, both the Leeds Griffins and Exeter Demons were confirmed to be relegated to Tier 1, with Leeds drawing 14-0 at Northumbria and Exeter losing 44-25 at home to the Portsmouth Destroyers in a game that they were leading as well. I don't think this is much of a shock either, did it? There were very much outside chances for both of them to stay in the Prem, and I think that was, they were kind of the writing on the wall, wasn't it, on Sunday.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's kind of been such a drawn-out season for everyone, sort of Prem North and South. Leeds so close to giving themselves one more shot in the next game, but just getting that tie ultimately is their downfall. I mean, it's not that one game. That's definitely not their downfall. Yeah. Their whole season has been rather lackluster, I think, by their own admissions. I think they'd say that. But, again, they're competing. They're on the field. They've played all their games this season. We said exactly the same about them last season and about Beckett in the Prem National last year, didn't we? The fact that they're on the field, they're always competing. They're not forfeiting games or not turning up to play fixtures, shall we say. Yeah, and then Warwick just doing Warwick things that they've done all season. And they're really finding their form and they're really finding momentum going into the playoffs. So I think they could be dark horses, to be fair.
Yeah, and then I think the biggest shock of the week that we haven't spoke about yet was the SGS Pride losing 7-6 at home to the Cardiff Cobras. The Cardiff Cobras getting their first win in Bristol in a long, long time, whether that's the UE Bullet or the SGS Pride, in a very, very close game. Friday Night Lights. It seemed that SGS are very one-dimensional offensively. They've got a QB who is mobile but also can sling the ball, and they were using his legs more often than not. And in a game where Cardiff kind of read that better than the Pride did, really, I think that's what it came down to, is that Cardiff wanted it more. And yeah, and now Cardiff don't have to worry about any sort of relegation in the playoffs, and they can put their feet up really now.
Yeah, I know Ash fairly well, the QB at SGS. He's one of my sort of old youth players from Sandwell days, and I've messaged him several times when he's been playing over on the continent. And yeah, as you say, he's multi-talented. He's got a bit of an arm on him, but yeah, really loves to keep that ball tuck it and run. And the Cardiff defense were just really sound to it. You could see the coaches on the sideline; they were making the right reads, the right calls, and yeah. Really impressed with Cardiff this season. Fair play to you guys. You've really come out and sort of not just competed, but also taken it and beaten some teams really well this season. Fair play to you guys.
And then as we look into Tier 1, of course, that made-up team, Aberdeen, didn't play this week, and Glasgow got the win there. And then 2 games were postponed in the form of the Leicester Longhorns taking on the Derby Braves, and Edge Hill's travels to Liverpool, but were both postponed. Is there any results here that really stand out to you, Stuart?
It was a very damp weekend, wasn't it? I think the margin of victory in the Sheffield Derby, I think the previous fixture was something like 40 or 50-0, wasn't it, to the Warriors? And then the Sabres keeping the Warriors to 6 in this game, 6-0. But yeah, to sort of hold on to that, what's the word I'm thinking of? It won't come to me. Modesty, I guess, is potentially the word I'm thinking of. So yeah, that's good. The Warriors confirming themselves in playoff football. He says there was all sorts of issues and confusion with playoff football in Tier 1 this weekend, which we'll come on to when we get the standings graphics up. It's probably a good night for Andy to have off, to be fair. Our inbox was rather full on Tables Tuesday when we posted it yesterday. And then the Rams-Titans game. I don't know whether you were going to discuss that, but that one was called late in the third quarter. There was a lad I think it was a lad, I'm assuming there, wildly assuming. There was a player with a severe elbow injury. Hope they're recovering okay, hoping they're getting support that they need. And it kind of had playoff implications and certainly title implications, because the Tyrants could have then said, well, actually, we really want to play the rest of the game, or, we're not going to let the result stand. We'll take it to BUCS and see what they say. But by all accounts, from a couple of Rams accounts and speaking to the Tyrants, it was agreed that result would stand, which meant that the Rams were crowned champions. And the Tyrants would pick up second spot, if I believe that's the wrong tab.
Yes.
Manchester Tyrants take the second spot, don't they?
Yeah, and Mod's point on the Sheffield Derby, I think if we've been speaking about this for the last couple of weeks, that have Hallam kind of lost their spark a little bit. At the start of the year, we'd see them beat Sheffield 50-0. We'd see other teams, against other teams do the exact same. I think it's now back-to-back games where they've played the teams where they should be beaten by quite a few points, and they have already this season, and they haven't been able to. And it kind of seems like that game against Green, where they lost, I think it was 29-0, I believe. But since that game, they haven't looked the same side. And going into the playoffs, where now they're in that 4 to 6 seed, it kind of doesn't bode well for them for the rest of this year. But also, like, hats off to the Sabres, because to be beaten by a team by that many points, and then all of a sudden you're coming back and you're only conceding 6 points against a team you could, that's quite good coaching, and that is, a way forward, and something that they'll be looking to hold on to going to the rest of the season if they make the postseason.
Nathan makes a good point on Instagram about the Rams conceding points. It is their very first set of points that they've conceded this year. So yeah, fair play to the Tyrants, getting another feather in the cap there.
And then if we look at Tier 1 Southern, again, is there any real standout fixtures here? I think there's one that makes next week very interesting.
There is. I'll let you pull that one out. I think for me, the Bobcats game, I believe, also finished early. That one was called by all accounts, if I remember reading socials correctly. And then Brighton beating Kingston. Is it a shock? Is it not? But certainly keeping that goose egg on the scoreboard. It's always good. Again, with Kingston sort of really looking to push on. Hopefully that'll help their chances. I don't know. Can they? Can't they? Stay up is what I'm talking about, not promotion or playoffs. Can they stay up? It certainly helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially I think
the team's the wrong way around. Kingston stay up, not Brighton.
The game we're going to focus on is that Hertfordshire one. It's I think now with UE, I believe they're now relegated. If memory serves me right, I think that was confirmed.
Yeah, I think so.
Last week, anyways, but I think this definitely confirms it now. But now going to next week again, we'll speak about, I'm sure, later on in the episode. But no, in the manner that they're beating teams now as well. Last week on the BUCS weekend kickoff, I had Max, who's a D lineman and also a coach there, and he was speaking how important this game could be and how it sets them up next week, especially after the Oxford Brook game was postponed as well against the Lancers. With I believe that was a waterlogged pitch as well. But no, this South tier now, it's all about to kick off in this week coming up. I think there's a lot of deciders on the line, and no, definitely, it's going to be a very interesting time in the Tier 1 Southern.
Hearts have definitely bounced back from that week 1 loss against the Lions, haven't they? That was very much the outlier result, and I think from what Max was talking to you about, it kind of spurred them on, really. So yeah, if you haven't already listened to the weekend kickoff shows, they're all over on YouTube, so you can pop back and give them a listen.
And then finally, Tier 2, some big results. I'll start with this one. I think York getting that win after 2 draws, and then they come out and beat the YHJ Jags 54-8. I had someone there who's told me about the game, and I think it was just that the Jags had quite a small squad, and it's the thing of, I think in Tier 2 you're always going to do better when you get the fundamentals absolute sound. You can score as many points as you want and have all the fancy plays, but if you don't have the fundamentals of being able to hold on to the ball and being able to block, I think it's already sets you up in a bad stead going forward, and that's what York's Insurance have, and their coaches definitely want to preach that all the time. And in the North Eastern as well, Hull get revenge on Sunderland, only conceding a safety the week before when they conceded 20+ points. I think it's a massive turnaround for the Sharks, and it really does set up this North Eastern to see who's going to go into the playoffs and who's actually going to get promoted. Because right now it's between 3 out of the 4 teams, so it's definitely going to be interesting going into this last couple of weeks. And then whilst we're on the topic, LGMU Fury against Lancaster was postponed, as well as the Worcester Royals and the Aberystwyth game. So yeah,
Nailed it.
And then the Reading Knights and Surrey Stingers game was also postponed. So hopefully we get more Tier 2 football, because we don't get enough of it as it is. But definitely, I think hopefully I don't know if there's a rain week or not, but hopefully everyone can fit these games in.
So, certainly not a weekend to be playing on grass pitches, was it?
No, not at all. So Stuart, any results here stand out to you?
I think Swansea UE stood out to me. Obviously, we spoke about them both being at the top of that division, and UE really wanted to sort of keep on the coattails of Swansea with their impressive start, but Swansea just kind of palmed them off and just went, no guys, which crowned them as division champions. Yeah. And then it's kind of left the waters a little bit murky underneath. Can Worcester and Gloucester creep into playoff football underneath UE2s as the sort of the 3rd seed? I think both of those teams probably won't have been expecting playoff football. Again, at me in the chat if you think I'm wrong. But yeah, probably both of those teams won't have been expecting it. And then we eventually got the Royal Holloway Sussex score and the Greenwich City score. We'd all known the outcome of the Super Bowl before we knew the outcome of Greenwich versus City. I know it's a slightly different scale, but 24 hours, 20. Yeah, that's why the graphics went out with L's on, because they were very late scores. I went full, what they called pools. I can't remember. You might not know when they used to do score results on radio and TV and needs to talk about the pools.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Nathan, you might know, you're an old-fashioned football guy. They talk about the pools and score draws and all that sort of stuff. They went out with L's on for late results.
Yeah, and as you were speaking about the UWE 2's game, my guest this week on BUCS Weekend Kickoff, which will be coming out on Friday, was the head coach of the UE Bullets 2, Sam Astley. He spoke in depth about the game at the weekend and about what the UE program as a whole is about and what they're doing. And it's really great to speak to a head coach like that when when they've just come off of a loss, but still looking forward into the playoffs and how important these playoffs are to them. But anyways, we'll crack on and we'll look at the tables. So the only one that's really changed is the national, really, and it's just this leapfrog of each other, isn't it? With Durham now at the top, UE second, Gold for third, Loughborough fourth, Leeds Beckett fifth, all going into the last weekend or the last couple of weekends, anyways. It's. I think we're going to get another shake-up in the next 2 weeks, anyways, with all these sort of standing, especially in the national when Gold and Bullets and Saints have to play each other again. In the north, it stays the same. NTU were crowned as champions last week. Again, congratulations to them. And then in the playoffs, they'll be joined by Warwick, Northumbria, and Newcastle after the Leeds Griffins 14-all draw, which sees them now relegated to Tier 1. And then as we look south, Brunel, they were confirmed as champions last week as well as SGS, Cardiff, and Portsmouth all in the playoffs after that, after Portsmouth beat Exeter Demons. This is all but confirmed. I like this. There's no, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. I like this a lot. So well done to the Prem tiers. And then Tier 1 North, Edinburgh Napier confirmed as champions, and Stirling Klansmen will join them in the playoffs at the minute. Glasgow could look for one of them best of the 3 seeds, I believe. Still, they're in the chance of it. Followed by Heriot Watt and Aberdeen. I don't know why Aberdeen are on there. We don't know if they exist. And then in the Northern, the Lancashire Rams have claimed the kings of the Northern, I guess. And they'll be joined by the Manchester Tyrants. Again, MMU could still make in the playoffs, but will need favours from other teams. And finally, the Mids in Yorkshire last week confirmed the Nottingham Green are champions. That stays the same way. After the win on Sunday, Cheltenham will join them, and then the Leicester Longhorns are already relegated as well. We spoke about that last week. But no, out of these 3, Stuart, who do you think will make the playoffs in that best of the 3 seeds?
And Andy sent me last night about a 3-minute voice note of his sort of maths and how he was working after we put the slightly incorrect ones out. We had a couple of messages and shout out to a couple of guys that really helped Andy out in the messages. And then he just completely retweaked the entire playoff seedings based on his newfound knowledge. So fair play to Andy for doing that. I think Glasgow are pretty much in the driving seat. I think that they will take the 7 seed, average points of 1.1, whereas Sheffield are 1 and Man Met and 0.9. So I think they're pretty much sorted. It's just whether Sheffield and Man Met can get victories in the final weeks that they play. Put my neck on the line. I think it's probably going to be Sheffield. I think they did enough at the start of the season to make sure that they're scraping or clawing into the playoffs come the last couple of weekends. I don't know what it is. I think there's just something for me saying them over Man Met. Yeah,
and then as we look to the Tier 1 Southern. So in the Southwestern, Bristol Barracudas, they were confirmed as champions last week as well, along joining with the Bournemouth Bobcats. Bath Kilbees could still make their way into the playoffs, but we'll win on the next game on Sunday. Plymouth Blitz, they were guaranteed as relegated last week as well. Into the Southern, this is going to be the most interesting one, I think, going for this week, isn't it, really? Especially with the South Eastern as well, it's going to be interesting. But UEA Pirates, bloody hell, that's a mouthful. They were rightly confirmed relegated last week after their forfeit, I believe. And then on that division, Hampshire Hurricanes currently sit in the top spot, followed very closely by the Oxford Brooks, who play this week, which is going to be an incredible game for the last game of the season in the Tier 1 South. And then Birmingham again, one of them sides who are in the hunt of the playoff spot and will look to get their way in there and look to return to the Prem South the first time of asking. In the Southeastern, KCL Regents, they've qualified alongside Kent for the playoffs. Again, another side who play each other this weekend, and that's going to be an incredible game. At the bottom of that, a battle between the UCL Emperors, who have got a game in hand over the Kingston Cougars, so it is in the UCL Emperors' hands going into their game against Brighton this week. And then finally, in the Tier 2 North, LGMU Fury sit at the top of the Northwestern, followed by Staffordshire, Salford, Lancaster, and Kiel. In the Northeastern, York, after their win, now puts them on 6 points because they've got the 2 ties as well. And they've got a better record than Hull and Sunderland, who've both won 5 points. YSJ currently sitting on, why does that say minus? Is it because they've already been given some forfeit, Stuart?
I actually have no idea. Let me have a look.
I believe there was one.
Oh, yes. There was one that Andy picked out, to be fair,
York.
versus YSJ versus York.
Yeah.
It was the one that was rearranged and then cancelled again.
Yeah.
I haven't seen why they've got -4. Let me just myriad over onto BUCS Play and see where Andy's got his information from.
And while Stuart was here, now I'll talk you through the Midlands. When we saw AIU at Christmas time at top of this division, currently they're in the 3rd spot. Above them is the Coventry Jets and the Cambridge Pythons. Cambridge with the bagpipes of chaos, which is the greatest thing in BUCS football at the minute. And the DMU Lions, who are currently on a 3-game winning streak, which is, I think, unheard of in the entire history of that programme. And then followed by the Lincoln Colonials. So I think most people would have tipped to have a good season this year. But definitely all to play for in all 3 of these divisions going into the last 2 weeks of the season. Who's going to get promoted? Who's going to claim their spots in the playoffs as well? And finally, the Tier 2 South. Swansea Titans, with their win over the UE Bullets 2, confirmed that they are champions. UE Bullets 2, they're still going into playoffs if they can win at the weekend. They're followed by the Worcester Royals and the Gloucestershire Gladiators. Bath Spa could still, if they can win out for the rest of the year. And then for Aberystwyth, it's all but over their season. In the Southern, no teams are confirmed to be champions or in the playoffs at the minute, because you've got 3 teams on 3 wins, which are the Surrey Stingers, Reading Knights, and the Sussex Saxons. And then they're followed by the Royal Holloway Bears and the Solent Red Hawks and the Chichester Spitfires. And as we turn ourselves to the Southeastern, Imperial are qualified for the playoffs. They're just above Quimble. Them 2 teams play this weekend as well, I believe, or in the next couple of weeks anyways. And then it's the Greenwich Mariners, City St George Wolfpack, and Essex Blades round out the Tier 2 South. So, going into this week, Stuart, have we got any more information on YSJ's -4?
I have. I found it. Wow, I'm not sure what happened to my voice there. Andy has scoured through BUCS Play, and the result from the 14th of December has gone down as a Hull walkover win. So York St John's have obviously forfeited twice and been awarded -4 points as part of those 2 forfeits. Good spot, Andy.
Not been a great season for the Jaguars, but hopefully in the last couple of games it can get a little bit better for York St John. But we'll turn our attention first to the Premiership tier. On Saturday, we will see Nottingham Gold travel down to the UE Bullets in a change of venue, I believe, to Hillside Gardens. It's where the Aztecs normally play. Is that right?
It is, yeah.
Which is going to be an incredible game between 2 top sides. Well, 2 of the sides have been top of the BUCS pyramid for a long time now. And with everything on the line this year, with seedings and who's going to get home playoffs and stuff like that, it's going to be important for the Nottingham Gold to redo what they did at home at the David Ross, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I'm gutted I couldn't make it. My work schedule changed by a week, so I'm now working on Sunday, so on Saturday even. So yeah, don't know if it's going to be live streamed. If we find a stream link, we will share it, because I'm sure every man, dog, woman, anybody involved in football probably wants to watch this. Unfortunately, we won't get Bad Bunny at halftime, but who knows what we might get. But yeah, with the noise that's sort of around the Aztecs program at the moment, I'm really looking forward to the show that this can have down at Dings Crusaders. I think it is rugby club, just in outside of Bristol technically. But yeah, really looking forward to that, seeing what sort of team Bullets put out. Obviously, they may have had some sort of personnel issues at the weekend, whether they're back, whether they're fit, whether they're healthy, whether Ethan plays, all sorts of permutations. And I'm sure that the Gold coaching staff have had a look at all the film that they saw from last weekend and thought, well prepared.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if a change of venue and how that affects them. Because I think, I know it's not the first thing everyone thinks of, but once you're used to playing at one place and all of a sudden you're traipsing across town to go play in another, it could have quite a negative effect on the BUCS. But I think if we've known anything about that program, they won't look for excuses and they'll just look to do what they have been doing for the last few years, really. The other game in the National, Loughborough hosting the Durham Saints. Durham Saints will just look to handle business in this game, really. I can't see it going any other way, really. And then in the Prem North and South, no one can
certainly not after last weekend. Certainly not after last weekend's result, for Durham.
Exactly. And in the Prem North and South, no one can change seedings, I believe. Well, there's one. I think the Cardiff Cobras could go up to second, but it's going to need a lot. Oh, no. I don't think they can because I think SGS have the head-to-head
over I think they do,
Cardiff. So nothing can really change in any of the divisions. So I think this week's going to be a case of finishing the season healthy and looking to the playoffs, unless you are the Demons or the Griffins and you're looking to go out there and put a 1 in the win column anyways, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then, but I think for most teams it'll be a case of resting their main guys and looking into the playoffs, apart from the NT Renegades, who I know are going to play all their starters this week already, which is a bold strategy. But yeah, hopefully it works out for the Renegades and no one gets too hurt.
It'll just be interesting to see how much of a statement Brunel can make against SGS. Obviously, last year's finalists, Brunel looking like they're going to be perennial title challengers in this year's final. It'll just be interesting to see what sort of statement can be made down at Site 5.
Yeah, exactly. And then we look into Tier 1. Aberdeen's game against Edinburgh Napier Knights has already been awarded as I can't help but laugh. Has already been awarded as a walkover to the Napier Knights. And then in this tier, Stuart, in the north, is there anything else that really tickles your fancy?
We had a message as to why Edinburgh Napier went out as 7-0 on the graphic and not 8-0. It is already on BUCS Play, but just because it hasn't technically happened yet, I know it's not actually going to happen. But yeah, we just left it as 7-0 rather than making it 8-0. It will become a formality on Sunday evening. Anything that stands out to me? We're talking about Sabres and sort of having their sort of pride knocked by the Warriors at the weekend. Be interesting to see how well they compete with Green. Green, obviously, with all the momentum and all the, I was going to use the word bravado. That's probably a bit of a wrong word. All of the fun and enjoyment that comes with the Green team, sort of being under the gold, I suppose you could say. They will obviously want to be getting as high up that 1, 2, 3 seed as they possibly can, and making sure that they avoid travelling to anywhere, basically. Green will want to really take care of business, and Sheffield could, excuse the pun, could really put the sword in and make it difficult for Green in the playoffs. Yeah,
and then on top of that, we also have like the relegation, like threat teams as well. So right now, we know that that Leicester have been relegated, but I believe that we're still waiting for what's going to happen with the Edge Hill postponement last week with Liverpool to see what's going to happen between them two teams and who gets awarded what. Because if that's an Edge Hill win, that really makes this week interesting. For the simple reason of if Derby can go out and win, then they're safe and it will relegate Liverpool and Edge Hill no matter what the score is, I believe, because they won't have enough points, and Derby got 1 point earlier on in the season. And yeah, so on our workings anyways, I think that'd mean that Derby, if they can win against the Warriors, would be safe. Or am I just making this up?
No, I think so. I'm trying to work out myself and have a look on BUCS Play at the same time as to see whether there is any news on that postponement. But I think it is a postponement rather than a walkover at the moment. But yeah, it looks like it could be an interesting battle with Derby, Edge Hill, and Liverpool, all for that 2 and 3 relegation spot, with obviously no relegation coming from the Scottish.
Yeah, because I believe there's a rain week, or definitely on the way that we've got it anyways. There's a week for games that haven't happened in the tier one, north and
Good
south.
question.
So it'd be interesting to see if any of these games do get rearranged, especially that Liverpool Edge Hill one, because that has so much implication on both sides' fortunes next year. But yeah, the way that we have it, if Derby just go out and win at the weekend, they will remain safe in tier one again because they'll be on 5 points. Even if Liverpool and Edge Hill play, the highest that one of them two sides get is Liverpool, and they can only get to 4. So I think it's all in Derby's hands. They're very much in the driving seat this weekend to see who will be relegated down to tier 2. As we jump to the south.
I don't know about the rain week, so I'm looking at Appendix
Okay.
2 of the BUCS League knockouts, and the Prem North South and the Tier 1 fixtures have to be submitted by midnight of the 17th of February, if I'm reading this correctly. So they need to be on BUCS Play, submitted and in, so that BUCS can confirm the playoff tournaments. The Prem National and Tier 2 get another week, so they get until the 22nd. Well, deadline is the 25th, but they get that weekend of the 22nd in. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what sort of fixtures happen. And again, nothing stopping you having Wednesday's fixtures. If you do, let us know. If you do, let Bafra know, and they can see if they can get a crew for you. But yeah, be interesting to see which teams are quickly clamouring around to get fixtures in.
And then as we look into the south, which, holy moly, is an incredible week if you are in the southern or southeastern. Yeah. Everything on the line to play for. And there's quite a few games that we probably want to speak about in this one, isn't there, Stuart? I'll let you you go first.
You mentioned Hearts OBU earlier, so I'll let you have that one. I'll go with the bottom one. I'll go with KCL and Kent. Winner takes all. What is the points differential? Because I'm sure that Kings will have beaten. Oh no, it was a tie. So it is literally winner takes all in that one. If Kent can get the 2 points and the win, they obviously go above Kings, and if not, they then sort of start looking over their shoulder at OBU and Bournemouth in terms of average points, and then how far do they slip and where do they have to travel in playoffs. So Kent really want this victory. Do I see it happening? It could be really, really interesting. Kings have had a couple of close games. Brighton and Kingston stand out to me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it depends. I suppose it depends if it's raining in London at the weekend, doesn't it?
Exactly that. And another one that's going to be interesting, and another side that has the head-to-head over the other is the KCL region. No, sorry, the UCL Emperors don't have the head-to-head over Brighton. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought here. Over Kingston. So don't think there's much that they need to win. It's as simple as that, isn't it? They win, they go up to 4 points. It's quite simple. I think they showed quite a good showing against KCL at the weekend. So again, I wouldn't be too shocked if they can, provide a result here for themselves, because they did look good at times against a really, really good KCL side. But travelling to Brighton, a side that's just beating Kingston 24-0, it's going to definitely be hard work for the Emperors to see if they can stay in this division, or if they're going to be playing Tier 2 football next year. I keep calling it Div 2.
We're not quite in Baffa yet.
I'm just so close, and we've got Div 2, but sorry, we've got it back. And then as we look into the southern, a little bit further north, I'm getting closer to where I know. Hertfordshire, Oxford Brookes, what a game! Yeah, there's not much else you can say apart from that, is there? Oxford Brookes played one less game because of the postponement against Oxford last weekend, but a win here. Even though Hertfordshire have got the head-to-head over you, I'm just trying to find the points differential, because I don't think it was
7 of 7.
Wow.
21-14 it was down at De Harvard Villages.
A touchdown. That's it for the Oxford Brookes.
Crazy.
And they'll learn from that. Do you know what I mean? If they could be champs of the Southern and then not have to worry about travelling anywhere, not have to worry about the potential of facing Bournemouth. Yeah, I think it's I think it's going to be a tough game to call, that one, isn't it? Definitely.
Yeah, again, gutted I'm not free. I actually have to drive past Oxford to get home from Dunstable, where I am, but I'm nowhere near that game. That's absolutely way too late for me. But yeah, shame. Never mind.
And then in the Southwest, again, Bath need to beat Southampton to have any chance at the playoffs. Currently at 3 and 4, just because I think they're currently because they've played one more game than Birmingham. But would they go into a mini league if Birmingham win at the weekend as well? This is why we need Andy.
Don't start with mini leagues. That was part of Andy's conversation the other day, and I was like, okay,
Andy. But no, definitely.
Interestingly, for Southampton, the head-to-head's only 4 points over Bath. So if they get another 2 points on the board, it puts them both on 6. And if Southampton steal the head-to-head, Southampton could find themselves in with an outside chance of playoff football, right?
They need a big favour from Oxford Lancers to do that.
Huge favour.
Yeah, exactly. But definitely, I think it won't be the craziest thing to happen.
No,
but can't really see that one happening. I'll be honest with you, Stuart. But definitely, and then next week we will have the confirmed final of both Tier 1 and Tier 1 North and South. And we'll be able to tell you who's going to be playing who in the playoffs and all the info for that. We finally get to talk about post-season football, which I don't know about you, Stuart, but I'm rather excited for.
It's crazy to think it's come around again, isn't it?
I tell you, I love it. And finally, Tier 2. If you want to hear Coach Sam Astley talk about their UWE Bullets 2 trip to Aberystwyth this weekend, go over to the BUCS weekend kickoff, which will be on Friday. Normally it's about midday in each two. It depends what else we've got on that at the time. But yeah, if you want to hear the head coach's insight into their trip to Aberystwyth and how they, as a team, are going to be coaching against that and their mentality going for the rest of the season, it's definitely worth a really, really good listen. So yeah, that's my shameless plug. But Stuart, any other fixtures stand out to you?
It's not shameless. It's definitely warranted. Completely shout about it. Gloucester Bath Spa. I know it might not be the most glamorous tie, but Bath Spa will be looking to sort of bounce back. They won the game before Christmas, and then I think they won just after Christmas. They won 2 in a row, if memory serves.
Bath Spa
No, they just beat Aberystwyth before Christmas. It's because I was talking about them potentially beating Worcester, and then Worcester went and did a number on them.
Did they lose to Winchester as well? Did they lose to Winchester as well in the associate? Again, it might not have been the Stars. Yeah, I remember the loss to Winchester as well.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. They'll be really looking to bounce back. And that Southwestern division is messy with like 8 points, 4 points, 3 points, 3 points, 2 points. It's just, as you say, Aberystwyth that are sat afoot that division. But again, no relegation, so you don't have to worry about it. The Southern, Chichester, Royal Holloway, again, might not sound the most glamorous, but Chichester will want to get points on the board. They won't want to finish a season with nil points, as they Eurovision say.
It's big for both teams, that, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You get to this time of the season and you see a lot of teams in the same division who haven't got the most points. You see it more in the south than you do the north, but definitely you got Solent and Chichester. I hope they play each other, because it'd be good to see one of them two teams get points on the board, and I think it's quite a morale boost, isn't it, for going into next season from a lot of the returners, and it gives you that want to come back, because you can't beat a winning feeling, can you? It's always possible. It's the best feeling in the world is to win. So I think definitely
Solent Chichester is in the last weekend of the season.
Exactly. So if Royal Holloway if Chichester get a win this week, let Solent win, and then everyone finishes with points and everyone's happy.
Yeah, Royal Holloway, actually, looking at it, a very quick maths, I haven't checked their head-to-head with any of the three above them. They have an outside chance of playoffs. They're on 2 points. Everyone else above them on 6. If they can win their last 2 games, outside chance.
They're going to need some big favours from other teams. But again, there's a possibility. So it's BUCS football. Anything can happen.
You don't have the golden season cues next year. If you don't lock it up, you don't get in.
Exactly. And for me, one game that I'm surprised I haven't spoke about is York Sunderland. That's a huge game.
A little bit far north for me, that one. You can take that one.
Well, York under new head coach, undefeated so far. 2 wins, 2 draws. One of the wins is a walkover, yes, but a win's a win. Don't really matter if you get the points on the board at the end of the day. playing a Sunderland side that know how to score points, especially at home. I think the 2 home games, the 44 over YSJ and 22 against Hull, they know how to score points. But again, they'll be playing on a muddy field in the University of York's back garden. It's not the nicest field to play on. I don't know. They'll be without their best player as well after he was ejected. I don't know if this has been brought up to Bafra or not. It's going to be interesting to see because, of course, I think this year, Tier 2 have had to have self-officiating games. But the head coach from Hull has told me that a player who I know would probably did get ejected at the weekend. And I wasn't surprised by that at all. It'd just be interesting to see if the coaches have made, if the people officiating have made Bafra aware of that. And if they haven't, they're aware now. So, well, so yeah, York, look out for that. Where's number 1? But no, apart from that, LJMU Staffordshire's a huge game as well. I think if LJMU win, they all but wrap up the division and they'll be crowned champs, I believe.
Yes, because Staffordshire.
So many games that haven't happened in this division. It's kind of crazy.
No, I think you are right because Staffs only have 1 game left against LJMU after this one. Yeah, I think Kiel will.
No.
Oh no! Wait, what am I on about?
No, so their game last week
against that was postponed.
Yeah, so the game. This is the last game for Staffordshire. If they can win, they're now waiting on LJMU's fixture against Salford next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, we hope that this Kiel Staffordshire game does go ahead last week for the simple reason it just makes the playoffs a bit more spicy, wouldn't it? This whoever gets promoted. And another thing to remember Sorry, go on.
Do you see Sunderland offering York to flip the fixture so that it definitely goes ahead and they play it at Druids Park?
I did not see that, and I'm not surprised they want that. But if I was York, I'd stick where you are.
Yeah, do you see it coming?
I could see the offer. However,
interesting.
If I was York, I wouldn't be taking that, and then I'd just see if you could fit it in another time. I know they've only got 1 week of the season left, but even if it just goes as a voided game, then it goes as a voided game. It's not the end of the world. They play Hull next week, and it won't be the worst. To be voided, it won't be the worst thing in the world. But yeah, one thing to also remember, I don't know if Stuart already said this earlier, but to be promoted, you need to win the division. It isn't like Tier 1 or the North or South, where if you win the playoffs, you're promoted. So yeah, it's getting down to that time where you look at Cambridge, York, LGMU all in the North, and you look at that Southern division with 3 teams on 3 wins. It's the business end of the year, and they need to. I think a lot of teams now need to start winning more and really cement their place. But yeah, no, I think that's all for us tonight. A quick 42-minute episode, Stuart.
Short and sweet, isn't it? Short and sweet. We should host every week.
Exactly. So, Stuart, is there anything else I've missed? Any news or anything else?
Shall I quickly just touch on last person standing? Nobody actually went out. 2 people picked York Centurions. They gambled and went with a game in the in Tier 2 North. Both went through. Somebody picked a game that was postponed. Somebody picked Staffordshire over Kiel, and that one obviously fell foul of the weather. And then the other 2 were kind of banker picks, really. Someone went with Hearts and someone went with Stirling. So yeah, we've got all 5 people still through. I will probably sit down now or tomorrow and work out the Microsoft form, get that out on Friday. There's a game on Saturday, so I will bring the form out on Friday afternoon, close it earlier on Saturday so that people can pick between bullets and gold. I don't think either of the 5 are going to, but yeah, let's see what happens. They might already have used it, actually. I think I've closed my spreadsheet. Yeah, but all of them might have used. If they have used their picks, I may well move it a bit later, but I'll see.
And yeah, if there's any games this weekend being live streamed by teams, we can all especially that the UE gold game, if that's being live streamed, please tell us. We'll get that posted everywhere. But apart from that, I don't think there's anything else to talk about. We hope that fixtures come out this week across all formats. Fingers crossed. We've got the alignments. We're just fingers crossed that the fixtures now come out, and then we can finally talk about the adult season, because that's rapidly coming ahead. But no, if that's all for us. So yeah, we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.